You look around and you're like, oh no, life still sucks. I'm still fat. Shit's still horrible. My wife still hates me. Fuck, let me go back to scrolling the gram. Alrighty, welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining me. Happy whatever fucking day it is. Currently, when I'm recording this, it is a Wednesday. I've run my 5 a.m. call. I've been up since 2 o'clock. I got the gym done. Fucking crushing day. Normally would have a cap on just to hide the mop, but I don't know where my cap is and I got shit to do. So we're going to send it real quick. We'll deliver some value and then I'm going to get the fuck out of here and carry on with my day. But listen up, guys. I don't know how many of you truly know this or if this is even common knowledge to most people. I assume it is, but then I've realized or come to realize that the shit that I think is common and common sense is often not that common to most people. And then I end up wanting to punch people in the fucking throat because I just make assumptions on the fact that this is common knowledge and it's not. So today I'm going to share this with you. I don't know if you know this, but less than 1% of the global population is exceptional. And what I mean by exceptional is like they're the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, where they are just that fucking gifted. Like they still do the work, obviously, but they're just fucking awesome. Like incredibly talented at what they do. And it's seemingly like everything that they touch turns to gold. So if that's the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, what the fuck did the rest of the 99.99 recurring percent of us have to do? We have to do the work. We have to show up and actually be prepared to eat a couple shit sandwiches and suffer. Because here's the reality of the situation, right? And I've said this before in other videos, but if you turn up in an attempt to be great, you will probably be good at best. That's the reality. But showing up with the bare minimum attitude and just ticking a box, you're guaranteeing that you're going to suck. There is no way that you're going to be phenomenal if you're just doing the bare minimum and you're not really working too hard for yourself. So understand that, yes, there are the people that are gifted. They've got the genetics. They've got fucking superpowers when it comes to brain power and capacity and all that good shit. That's not majority of us. So stop comparing your life to their life, your work ethic to their work ethic. Because yes, they might do the same amount of work as you, but they are just lucky. They're just gifted. They're the 1% of the 1%. Cool. For the rest of us, we're not that privileged. So we just have to settle in for the ride and understand that, fuck man, we're going to have to do some real work here. And it reminds me of something I came across the other day where it said, how do you ruin a man? Like if you wanted to break a man, what would you do? You would entertain him, you'd keep him comfortable, and you would meet his basic needs to where he doesn't truly want for anything, but he is also not flush. He's just enough. Now, where is that showing up in your life? Because I'm pretty sure that it's showing up somewhere. Shows up for all of us. And how do we break that cycle? How do we get out of that cycle to where we're not just getting by, just enough to keep ourselves satisfied? How do we get into a position where we have abundance, where we have ample, whatever it is that we want? Ample money, ample love, ample success, ample wealth, whatever. How do you get to that position? Well, you get to that position by eating some shit sandwiches, by suffering, by accepting that you're going to be uncomfortable, by enduring some pain. Are we shocked that that's how you craft a man? Are you shocked that a comfortable man self-destructs? Because a comfortable man does the bare minimum. And there's a nagging voice in every single one of our head that says, hey man, this isn't good enough. Being just enough is not enough. And you're unhappy, you're dissatisfied, you're on edge all the time. You're literally on that knife edge where shit could go either way and the littlest of things could just push you off. I was at Starbucks the other day. I go to Starbucks when I'm on the move and I need to hit my protein number. They have the egg bites. They're really good macro-friendly egg bites. So I go there on a frequent basis. I'll get a black coffee and then I'll get some egg bites to help me hit my protein numbers. And there was a guy in Starbucks and it wasn't a drive-through one. It was just one where you had to go in. So I'm like, fuck, okay, I'm going to go in. I go into the Starbucks and there's this dude. He bought his oatmeal and he's got his blueberries on the side. And he takes his oatmeal, his blueberries, sorry, and he pours them into his oatmeal. And there was more blueberries than oatmeal, and a couple bounced out and went on and rolled onto the floor. And like, obviously, he's not going to eat them because they're on the floor now. And you could see in that moment that that was potentially the shit that was going to break this man. And I've been there, dude. So I'm not judging him. I kind of found it amusing. And him and I made eye contact, and I just gave him the head nod, and he head nodded back because he knew I knew what was going on in his head. But he was like, he's on that fucking knife edge to where it could teeter either way, and he's just about holding his shit together. And that 2 or 3 blueberries that bounced out of his bowl and onto the floor was nearly a fucking deal breaker for him. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And if you're watching this, there's no way you can judge me in this situation because I know you've been there too. You've been in a position where the smallest little thing had you going off the fucking rails. And then afterwards, you're like, shit, dude, that wasn't that big a deal, but I fucking flew off the handlebars anyway. Are you shocked that that happens when you're not in congruence with your best self? That shit doesn't happen to those of us that are now on the right path, where we've transcended and decided that, hey man, I live in congruence with that 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 version of me. That guy that only makes good choices. That guy that only does the shit that gets him closer to who he wants to be. Not the shit that makes him run away from who he is today. So we don't tap into the vices. Why? Because we know that the vices take us further away from who we ultimately want to be. Yes, we escape our own reality now, but it's not about escaping. It's about fucking enduring the suffering and being okay with where you are. And understanding that 2.0 version of me doesn't drink like a fish to escape his problems. Instead of spending hours on end on Instagram or YouTube or Facebooks or the Googles and fucking trying to figure out what kind of potato we are, we use that 10, 15, 20 minutes that we have spare to figure out how to solve a problem that we're running into on a consistent basis. Because understand that this game called life, it'll keep serving you the same problem over and over and over again until you learn to solve that problem. And then it goes, okay, cool. Job done. You understand. You've learned. Next problem. Here you go. The easiest analogy I can give you, right, is gaming. I come from a gaming background. I was escaping through gaming was one of my vices, one of my things. Because I was so miserable with who I was, I would escape through games. You have the same mission over and over and over again until you learn how to pass that mission. And then you pass it, and the game gets a little bit harder, and you have a new mission. And then your game gets a little bit harder, and you have a new mission. You don't come out the gates and meet the fucking final boss of a game and expect to win. The game literally stair-steps you through the process to get you to a point where you're good enough to handle the final boss. And if you keep bumping into a step, you have to learn how to fucking get past it, and then you step up, and the next one, and you step up. Are you shocked that life is not the same? Why would life not be the same? Why would you think that you would be served different problems until such time as you can handle the problems you have now? If you can't solve a $100 problem, there is no way in fuck you're solving $1 million problem. It's pretty logical when you think about it from that perspective, isn't it? So if that is the case, and that is how life dishes and serves you and tests you, maybe instead of running away from who you are and running away from the responsibility and justifying it by saying, well, the guy like that is the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, fucking Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, everyone's comparing themselves to those guys. You're not those guys. And I don't know who's fucking started that narrative of everyone is equal, everyone's the same, everyone deserves the same opportunities, because that motherfucker needs a goddamn bullet. Someone needs to put a bullet in that fucking guy's head and stop him from talking. Because it's bullshit. You don't deserve any of that shit. You earn that shit. And yes, they are gifted. Elon Musk is I think he might be an alien. But dude, he's also fucking smart, and he works harder than most people. Listen to the man and his philosophy. He works extra hours, and he's equated that to extra days in a year. That's the kind of level that the man thinks at. He's like, dude, if I sacrifice 2 hours of sleep a night, I win 14 hours a week more than the average person. Over the course of a year, I win X number of days. That's how he thinks. That's how he works. So yes, he's fucking intelligent. Yes, he's fucking gifted. But the dude turns up. The dude works harder than people who are mediocre. And he's phenomenal. So if you're fucking mediocre and you're the 99% and you don't even work as hard as Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or any of the 1% of the 1%, what makes you think you deserve their outcome? What makes you think you deserve to live their life, have their wealth, have their success? It's fucking stupid. And again, you won't see Elon Musk figuring out what kind of fucking potato he is. He's figuring out how to be a fucking rocket scientist or solve rocket scientist problems or who he needs to employ to solve said problem. That's how he handles his problems. So why are you not doing the same? If your goal, if you truly want to be successful, wealthy, why are you not playing the same game? Why are you thinking that you can revert to comfort and escaping, and that's going to give you the solution to your problems, when not even the most talented and gifted people in the world, who are the 1% of the 1%, live that life? It makes no sense. So like I said at the beginning of this video, to me, this is all common sense. And I'm like, well, obviously. But then in the same breath, I say this to people all the time and they're like, wow, profound. Who'd have thought? And I'm like, the fuck? Maybe it's not so common. Maybe common sense is not so common after all. So that's the message for today, guys, is understand that yes, there are the people that are really fucking gifted. They're just born with the silver spoon in their mouth. But even that only gets you so far. Even that still needs you to really fucking turn up and do the work to sustain that and ultimately be that 1% of the 1% of the 1% or whatever. So if you're not prepared to do the work, to sacrifice, to be uncomfortable, to have delayed gratification, to have discipline, please don't expect to have the outcome. Please don't expect for your dreams to come true. Please don't expect to be the wealthy guy, the most successful guy, because you're not showing up. You're not doing what needs to be done in order to live that life. You're pleasure seeking. You're escaping through vices. All of that shit, your immediate like satisfaction, the desire to be satisfied now versus delaying it for later, all of that shit is harming the 2.0 version of you. It's pulling you further away from that guy and closer to who you don't want to be. So the solution is simple. Do less of the shit that makes you who you are today and do more of the shit that's going to make you who you want to be in the future. It's that simple. If the best version of you doesn't get fucked up every single day and sink a six-pack followed by a fucking whatever the people are drinking these days, if the best version of you doesn't do that, why are you doing that today? If the best version of you eats healthy, trains, pays attention to their finances, etc., 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 why would you not just start doing that today? The minute you start living congruent with that version of you, you time collapse the fuck out of that journey. You get to a point where you make that shit a reality for yourself because you're incongruent right now, and that's why you're not seeing the fucking results. So when you start living in congruency with who you want to become and you start making that a reality for you, you make that happen and you bring it to fruition. But all too often, we're out there pushing off that fucking version of ourselves and saying, nah, not today. I'm going to start tomorrow or next week or next month or, oh, it's the 30th of December. I'm going to start on the 1st of January. Start the fuck now. Start right now. The best version of you, what the fuck does that guy do? Do that every day. If he's not a fucking waste of space, Facebook surfing, potato having motherfucker, don't be that guy today. Who cares what kind of fucking potato you are? Who cares what kind of fucking fairy you are? Or which kind of Marvel superhero you are? Who fucking cares? It's a distraction. It's distracting you from who you want to be. It's holding you where you are today. So get the fuck out of your way. Stop doing stupid shit like that. Use that time and energy to figure out what the fuck does the best version of me do? How does he show up? What is his core values? Do more of that. And then live today as though you were already that man or that woman, and you will make it a reality, and you will become that guy. It's that simple. None of this shit is rocket science. Personal development fucking is the easiest shit on earth. It truly is. But everyone wants to complicate it to the point where they just don't pay attention because they're so fucking delusional. And they're so disconnected from who they want to become that they constantly feed into immediate gratification. It's easier to get fucked up than it is to abstain from that and do the work. It's easier to sink a tray of donuts than it is to meal prep and eat the right healthy foods. It's easier to sink a tray of donuts than it is to meal prep and eat a macro-balanced diet. It's easier to just drive through McDonald's. It's easier to sink a fucking thing of Cheetos. It's easier to scroll Instagram aimlessly. But none of that shit gets you where you want to go. None of that shit improves your life. It's immediate. So you get a little dopamine hit now of, oh, things are not that bad. And then you come back to reality where you lock your phone and you look around and you're like, oh no, life still sucks. I'm still fat. Shit's still horrible. My wife still hates me. Fuck, let me go back to scrolling the gram. That's the solution that everyone's going to, rather than who's the man that I want to become? What does he do? How does he show up? Let me be that guy. And then again, like I said, less than 1% of the entire world's population is phenomenal just because they were just that lucky in that they were born in the right place, the right time, with the right skill sets, and they found their passion and their purpose. And welcome, good luck. That's fucking good for you, bro. I don't hold anything against them. Good for them. Unfortunately, I'm not that guy. So I have to work for my shit. So I know what 2.0 version of me does, how he lives, his core values, and I live by them. Simple. If you do the same, you can see the same result. If you do the same, you can do what I did. You can time collapse what most people take an entire life to do, and you can make it happen in less than 4 years. While the rest of the world burns, while the rest of the world plays stupid games with viruses and all sorts of shit, you can still do you. Because this is an abundant life. There is no shortage. You just have to be congruent with who you are supposed to be. The minute you do that, there's an abundance of fucking everything. The scarcity mindset that most people are in, they've been taught that. They've been told that that's the reality. How can there be a lack of money when the government literally prints billions of dollars every day? It's abundant. In actual fact, money doesn't mean anything. But we've tied so much value and so much energy towards this thing that's supposedly so scarce. And then we don't even do the work to make it happen and attract it to us. And then we wonder why we live paycheck to paycheck, why we're struggling, while shit sucks. Crazy to me. Fucking crazy to me. So please, stop looking at the less than 1% and thinking that you can copy their work ethic and that you just get what they get for no fucking reason. And understand that even those guys that are as gifted as they are, they still do the work. They still turn up. Phil Heath, phenomenal genetics. Dude's a genetic god. Still works harder than anyone else to win his Olympia medals. to win his Olympia titles. Arnold, genetic freak, still worked harder than any other fucker out there. Because genetics only gets you so far. Luck only gets you so far. Blood, sweat, tears, work, discipline, delayed gratification does the rest. Get to it. Start playing that game. It's the only outcome. You're trying to escape who you are today because you don't like that guy. So stop doing more of the shit that makes you more of that guy and start doing less of that shit and do more of the stuff that brings you in alignment with who you want to be. And as soon as you make that shift, things get crazy. Life gets interesting. And you start doing the phenomenal. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers for now.